I got a lot to get into this morning. A lot of things. It seems like whenever Josh is gone, first of all, I'm pissed off at him. I can't wait for him to get here because he reached out to me, Brandon, a couple of weeks ago and said, listen, do you want to go to the beach? And Josh and I are good friends, but we don't really go on vacations together. I'll go over and smoke a stove with him. So for him to reach out to me and say, and here he comes, and for him to reach out to me and say, you want to go to the beach is one thing. And so I said, yeah, I'd love to go to the beach because he knows I'd love to go down to the beach with him. And then I come to find out that is because it was the USC, UCLA Women's Beach Volleyball Championship. And I'm thinking, okay, great. And I'm thinking to myself, great. Great. So I'll get a chance to go to the beach, go down there, be with my buddy, and then see some great sports. Didn't even realize it was a female part, but I was like, okay, it's fine.
Loose term, great.
No, he's so because I'm a sport guy. I love seeing sports,
right?
Icing, bowling, whatever.
Sure.
And then I found out that it was the UCLA USC Women's National Championship. And then he's sending me all these pictures. And then about 4 days before, he goes, hey, man, sorry, but Adair's in town, his daughter, and I think I'm just going to take her, and you're not welcome to go. And I was like,
I love the way.
And I was like, dude, I mean, because I had some business I was going to take care of down there, and I was going to kind of do a little nip and tuck and get in and do some business, maybe make some sales, and at the same time, check out some
business.
Check out some women's volleyball, beach volleyball, by the way.
You see what?
And I'm thinking, great. And all of a sudden, his daughter comes to town. Next thing, and I'm second fiddle. And I'm like, I'm all about family, but I'm like, okay. He goes, well, you can still go. You're just going to hang out with me. You're on your own. And I'm like, I ain't gonna go to the beach by myself. And so, all weekend long, he's posting me pictures, and there's legs, and there's women jumping up and down, and there's him with twins. There was a picture of him with twins. And then there's all these there's like 45 beach volleyball women, college kids, and he's on the side court and all this stuff.
See him on ESPN?
Yeah, I didn't see on TV.
I was on TV. I took a picture of myself.
I watched, but I never saw you on there.
I was on there.
So how was it?
It was great.
Well, I sat here.
It was great.
Huh?
It was. It was
not USC and UCLA.
No, they ended up in the finals, but this was.
Okay, so then it was USC and UCLA. What the hell are you talking about?
Okay, you're Mr. Sports Guy. It didn't start off as UCLA USC. This was the.
But that was the championship, right?
At the end of yes, they made it all the way.
So in a way, you're right, but
I am right.
Oh my God, that's like saying,
I am right.
You know what that's like saying? That's like saying I'm going to go to the March Madness tournament, but instead of saying it's March Madness, I'm just going to go to whoever's going to be in the finals.
Was I not right? Yeah. Was it not UCLA and UC?
It ended up.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay.
Right.
Thank you. That's what sports guys know. They know who plays in the championship game. So I was right.
Were they the favorites?
Well, UCLA, yeah, sort of.
Okay.
Sort of. UCLA had won the Pac-12 championship the week before. USC and UCLA had historically been champions.
Okay,
no, but this is interesting for the Southeast. LSU and FSU have been growing their program and becoming more and more dominant. And because this happened to be down at Gulf Shores, this was really the first time where you had two preeminent Southeastern teams. And what was really interesting to me, just from the psychology standpoint, these California people, I know I'm one of them, but I've been here, had never seen LSU fans. And it was hysterical because they're LSU fans. They don't care what sport it is. They had the tails and the flags and the California people were like, what are they doing? Well, why are they running around? Why are they doing this? I was like, this is what they do. The other thing I learned about beach volleyball, it's much like, well, I didn't know this. It's like it has a tennis and golf thing. You're allowed to like cheer, but in tennis it's sort of like quiet.
Before the serve.
Yeah, but like volleyball, beach volleyball doesn't. At least the vibe doesn't lend itself to that. It should be ruckus and
While they're falling.
Particularly right before the serve, and because of COVID and the NCAA, and this is where I got just lucky. Each player was only allowed 2 tickets. And the people that I was going with, who I work with their daughters, they happen to be twins. So they have
maybe twins.
And mom and dad went.
Twin
and so
beach volleyball girls, which I wasn't allowed to be at because
You could have been there. You just
well,
could have gone
he
in.
gave his daughter my ticket, after he invited me, and then left me here.
Plus, after
Mother's Day.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, after you wouldn't have, it would have. I'm glad you didn't go. For your own,
I was
for
gonna
your
ask
sake,
you.
For your sake, it's just I can't explain it. Just given what's going on and your lot and everything right now, it was really good that
No,
you
I
were.
think it would have been perfect. I think I
When you moved, are you a true sport? Have you always been a real true sports fan?
I am a true sports fan, but not global sport. Like I don't love all sports.
So what before you moved to the South, what sports did you think you liked?
Interesting.
Well, I knew he sounds like a psychologist.
He does.
I knew I liked basketball.
Okay.
I actually enjoyed volleyball.
College and pro?
Yes.
Okay.
I love volleyball. Played volleyball in high school. Loved beach volleyball. Men's and women's beach volleyball. Did not play. Don't like the sand that much. Don't play. But I love to watch. Not a huge football fan, but not an anti-football fan. Like football.
Right.
I'm going to say right here, hate baseball. Just do
Okay,
not like baseball.
So the reason I asked that is
and soccer. Soccer. You know it's the greatest sport. You know it's a
Soccer's
beautiful sport.
I know Indian Springs won the state championship. I actually watched some of that on Friday.
He texted me. Was it
No,
on
my
TV?
son goes to
Was
school
it on
there.
ESPN?
It was not.
Okay.
No, but it was good. They beat Russellville.
So did you
2-0.
learn when you moved to the South what a real sports fan is supposed to?
Yeah, so I thought coming from LA, you think
thought you were
know,
passionate.
Yeah, and there's good, Laker fans and,
Sure.
and even some of the colleges, University of Southern California, et cetera. Yes, but you have no clue.
Right.
No clue. And in fact, I was talking with someone who was a UCLA, she was the mother of the twins, was a UCLA cheerleader.
The mother of the twins.
Yeah,
huh?
she was a UCLA cheerleader back when we were in school.
UCLA cheerleader of
And
twins.
but listen, and so what she said was they went through they did something and they went to a Georgia game. But she's like, I'd never seen anything like it. And again, UCLA and USC are not small schools, but there is no comparison.
Yeah.
There is no comparison to Southern fandom.
Yeah.
It was great.
The only fan base I've ever seen that was similar was
Green Bay Packers.
Never been to a Green Bay, but the Chicago Cubs, the baseball team. Their fans are very similar to Southern college football fans. To
It
me.
just means more, man. In the SEC, it just means more.
Just
That's
means
what they mean. It just means more.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
So it's
Good.
perfect because on Thursday and Friday, I had a ton of content. The stuff was coming out of the blue, and you're like, dude, hold on to it. I was like, I'm a topical guy, and I obviously
gotta talk
had to go
about
through a
tops.
couple of 2-3 hours, and so we got into this Matthew Perry story,
What happened?
which was amazing. And I was talking to Brandon before the show. So evidently, a couple weeks ago, Ben Affleck hooked up with this woman on this Raya dating app, which is for A-listers and influencers.
Oh.
And their whole
Are you
thing
on it?
their whole thing is not yet.
Okay.
Their whole thing is I will be. The whole thing is about privacy, and about because it's A-listers and influencers,
that
right?
makes
And so it's RAYA.
It's like Clubhouse.
So evidently this, yeah.
Sorry.
You get 5 invites now. You have 50,000 invites. Yeah.
Go ahead.
And so, Clubhouse for daters. And so, evidently, this woman got linked up with Ben Affleck. She didn't follow him, and then he reached out to her and said, "Hey, it's really me." And then she posted it on her social media page, and everyone was like, "What are you doing, man? Ben Affleck just reached out to you.
Yeah.
Chill out. What's your problem?" So this other woman who was 19 got hooked up. Didn't look for Matthew Perry. Matthew Perry didn't look for her, but she got matched up with Matthew Perry. So she says she normally does not reach out or hook up with people. And I say hook up. In other words, they get hooked up,
yes,
not hook up.
Yes, thank you.
With older celebrities because she's just not interested. She's 19 and she's not into it. But in this particular case, she decided to do it because she thought it'd be fun.
But
right?
she's on there, just want to make sure. In order for anyone to be on there, you have to be somebody.
She's an influencer and she's rocking.
Okay,
right?
but that's what I mean. So
She's
okay.
rocking.
So you got to. There's a bear. Go ahead.
So shortly after they kind of hook up on
Yep.
on this particular platform, he says, "Let's do our FaceTime thing. Let's get off this thing and do our FaceTime thing." To which she agreed to do,
Perry's what?
even though she doesn't go after these older guys because she thinks it's kind of creepy. She even asked him during their initial introduction, whether her dad was older than he was, and He said, no, actually, I think I'm older than your father.
I was just going to ask. Perry's what, like 50?
51.
51.
And so he goes on to say, I'd like to get to know you a little bit better. Let's do a 20-question thing. Nothing sexual, nothing off board, nothing creepy, nothing weird. And so they had this conversation, to which she recorded and then posted it on her TikTok.
Oh, dude. See that? Oh.
And yeah. And so she's like, and a lot of people are giving her hell for it.
Yes.
Because first her Matthew Perry, she goes, I didn't think anything was going to happen. Of course, it blew up on her TikTok. She's got millions of people watching it. So we know that. And the reason she did that, and obviously the Friends reunion's coming up, so the timing was perfect.
That's not right.
She said, I feel like, she goes, a lot of people were saying I'm a bully and mean for posting this, and it made me feel kind of bad. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of guys in Hollywood are talking to these young girls, and it's something I think that a lot of people should be aware of.
Okay.
Now,
I get you there, but that one, yeah, but that wasn't the
first
way.
of all, she's lumping Matthew Perry.
Yeah, I feel it.
She's lumping Matthew Perry into a creep category because he reached out to a 19, 20-year-old, and it was not true. And again, she said there was nothing sexual, there was nothing really off base, there was nothing weird. He just asked me questions like what my favorite color was, what's my biggest fears, concerns, blah, 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 blah. And then she posted it. Ray over the weekend said, you're out.
Yeah, good. Okay, so that's
because this is all about privacy, and you obviously can't stick to these simple rules, and so you're no longer on our dating app. And I'm thinking to myself, and again, I could go to Matthew Perry and go, listen, Matthew.
Right.
You're reaching out to a 19-year-old influencer who really no one knows. Look at her. She's rocking. She's half naked. In all of her pictures, she's beautiful. And chances are she's probably going to use this against you because you're a celebrity. He may not care. He's not married. He's like, whatever. He may be pulling, a Kevin Durant going, I don't care. She's beautiful, and what's the chances? Maybe I get a hookup. Maybe the fact that he did nothing sexual, said there was nothing in it at all that was overtly sexual.
I'm slam on him.
And then I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe he just wanted to know if he still had it. Maybe he's a 51-year-old. But the thing is, and again, we've talked about this a million times, I'm not going to be judgmental on him. I'm not saying it's going to work. Just because a 50-year-old wants to talk to a 19 or 20-year-old doesn't mean he's a creep, doesn't mean he wants to marry her, doesn't mean he wants to sleep with her, probably. Doesn't mean that he wants to have this long-term relationship. They got in the algorithms. The algorithms showed a 19-year-old blonde who was very, very attractive. And I don't know a 51-year-old guy who's single who would not have reached out and made that connection. For whatever reason, he may have said, listen, this is kind of funny. I'm 25 years older than you are, but I'm not going to make this happen. The fact that she used him, I think, is really crappy. And she should be taken off of that.
Yes.
And she got all this notoriety, and a lot of people are slamming her because Matthew Perry is a beloved, iconic actor in this country that we love. He's gone through some addiction problems. He's a very successful television star, and obviously they got this Friends thing. And so, but for her to use the whole, I wanted to let people know that there's a lot of older celebrities. Well, what the hell do you think is going to happen? Listen, you can always say no. If you're getting hooked up with Morgan Freeman, and you think it's creepy, then don't reach out to him. You reached out to him because you thought it would be fun and you wanted to show that there's old creeps on it.
You put nothing on him, not 1 ounce?
No, I already said that he knew that by hooking up with some nobody who was 19 that looked like that, chances are she was going to utilize
so I'm going to go deeper than that. I'm slamming on him. I agree with everything you said about her. 100%.
Yeah.
Nothing else. This is where he blew it. You don't put the blame on him because he should have known that she would have done something with it. That's fine. You can take that. The angle that I'm taking is if you're 51 years old, and I still say the same thing, I don't care whether you're Matthew Perry or not. If you're 51 years old and a 19-year-old comes your way through some sort of dating app, you're done. There's not you don't play 20 questions to get to know each other.
Maybe he's on a book. Maybe he's on a new movie.
This is stop. Then this is you sound like a typical guy. Well, I just wanted to see.
Why? What's the problem?
What is the problem? What would you do?
She's legal and he's.
What would you do? What would you? Okay, go ahead. Go. Let's do this. Let's say you get on a dating app. You get on a dating app. Not one of these. You'll be on these, but not yet.
Yep.
You get on these, and one of Adair's friends is on there, and she's 19.
Yep.
And just gonna ask 20 questions, non-sexual. What I want to know.
You're talking about me, right? I'm not talking. I don't know what Matthew Perry is because when you're a celebrity, ages don't matter. We see they don't. It's a totally different word. It's a different. No, it doesn't. No, you always talk about social norms. You talk about cultural social norms. We know that a lot of older men go out with a lot of younger women in Hollywood. That's the social norm. We see 50-year-olds. We see David Hasselhoff going out with a 30-year-old, no one says a word because that's the social norm out there. That's Hollywood. That's celebrity.
It's an
now that's not me.
Yeah, but it's an unhealthy social norm.
Okay, well let them learn. I'm not going to be judgmental on them.
I am.
I've seen 45-year-olds go out with 20-year-olds and it works. There's outliers. It does, and you know it does. I'm not saying it's a good recipe. There's going to be red flags everywhere. She probably doesn't have a father. She's probably looking for a sugar daddy. He's a celebrity.
Stop
whatever.
Look at you slamming her. Okay. Let's go back to him. Let's go back to him. Let's get in his mind.
If he gotten sexual with her or something and been creeped, I would have gone, that's kind of weird.
But even if he
didn't do that.
But even if he didn't, let's get deep psychological in this. He didn't get sexual with her in any of the questions. But let's take one step back and ask.
And she FaceTimed him, by the way. Creepy that an old guy would reach out to me and he goes, hey, let's get off this thing, go FaceTime. She's like, okay.
Yeah, but I'm not.
She'd already been on Rhea with him.
I'm not excusing her. Like I'm not excusing her. But my question is, what is in the mind of Matthew Perry or any 51-year-old male when a 19-year-old comes across and it's more than hey, and you recognize she's 19? What is the motivation? If it's not sexual, okay, what is it? That's what, and I mean that. I'm not trying to slam on him. What is it that you want?
Maybe he can't find a woman his own age that he finds attractive. Maybe because he's 51, maybe he's going through a midlife crisis. He's single.
Midlife crisis
doesn't count. He was.
Midlife crisis doesn't
count. So maybe he's going through a situation where he can't find anyone his own age that he thinks is fun. Maybe he's young at heart and likes to go out with younger people. I don't know.
I had a little bit of a situation similar to what you just said. So I got divorced when I was early 30s, right? So I was in a area of my life where most of the women my age were married.
Sure.
Right? So the only girls that were really available or interested were
12?
younger or way older.
Yeah, but I totally agree with you.
And I wasn't interested in the way older at the time.
Sure.
So at 31
totally
to
makes sense.
38, I was dating 22-year-olds, 23-year-olds.
I get that. No, that one makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I'm going to go back and I'm going to ask the question. Let's get in Matthew Perry's head or any 51-year-old male, and let's take a 19-year-old. She happened to be 19. Let's say 18 to 20.
Yeah.
What is the motivation in your head to persist in it?
It's overwhelmingly flattering.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It makes you feel good.
Yeah.
I don't know too many. I don't know any 50-year-olds who are single, who are on dating apps looking to go out and have I've got friends of mine. Hell, I met with one this weekend who goes around the country and just dates different women. He's dated 18-year-olds. He's dated 88-year-olds. He just goes out and has cups of coffee in different areas and just enjoys the dating.
Okay.
If and when I'm single again, if a 19-year-old reached out to me and every day I get something high from Facebook from some blonde girl with ova, her last name's got ova in it. I know she's Russian. Yeah, they're all ovas.
I got an ova.
Skova, Porskova, Lova, Mova, Pova, Dova. They're all Slovakian,
ova.
Right?
Did you get one that said
They're all from Croatia.
How about Volvo?
And so I'm like, I don't even say hi back because I know what it is.
See?
But this is a dating app, and this is something that you need to pass some you need to pass some legitimate guidelines and some stuff in order to get on. You can't be a stripper and be on here unless you're an influencer.
I think we have to
stop being so judgmental is what I'm saying. Right. Stop judging him. He's a 50-year-old and wanted to have a conversation with a hot 19-year-old. If I'm sitting at Buffalo Wild Wings and I'm having an ice cold beer watching March Madness and there's a 19-year-old down at the end of the bar that is so smoking hot that it makes me melt on the floor and she goes, come on down here, let's talk for a few minutes. I'm going. Don't judge me for it.
Part of my job is that I'm
not asking for your job. I don't want a psychologist while I'm at Buffalo Wild Wings. Leave me alone. I want to go talk to this 19-year-old because she's smoking hot. She makes me feel good. Desperate Housewives did an entire episode on this. Remember the old woman?
Tell me where it goes.
Remember?
Tell me where it goes.
Huh?
Never watched that.
There was a young guy working at the bar who was twice under her age. She was like 50 and he was like 25. And he made her feel good.
So, but
he didn't hit on her, didn't do anything.
Tell me where it can go and where it stops. That's what I want to know.
It just depends on the
individual. It does not matter.
But it does.
No, it doesn't.
This is the part where men get themselves in trouble all the time. Because in your brain saying it just makes me feel good, you got to go two steps further. You got to say it just makes me feel good and what?
Chances are they go out if she's into it, she's obviously not into older guys. She was playing them, I guess. She just was trying to get her TikTok numbers up, which pisses me off. That's an influencer's way of thinking. Let's put some light on this while I eat this cheeseburger so I can sell more cheeseburgers.
Well, I don't like it.
So, so she totally used him, and I don't think he's going to be any less the wares for it. I don't think he really cares. But say she did want to go out with him for whatever reason.
Yes.
They go out, probably seen on his arm a couple of times. I don't know. Maybe it's secretive for a while, and after a couple months it doesn't work. They have too many differences. He's off in Hollywood. He realizes she's an idiot because she doesn't have a brain in her head, but she's got a hot body. He's like, I'm done. And next thing you know, it doesn't work.
Did you just say that?
Yeah.
I think he only gets in trouble with people that have a different moral code than he does.
Wait, listen, let's okay, hang on. I got to say something. As the father of, yes, both of us as father and daughter, that she doesn't have a brain in her head. How do you know she's not a student at MIT?
Yeah.
Right.
Do some research. I don't know that she's not.
No, but I mean, this is
she's
not.
a 19-year-old making millions of dollars because she's an influencer.
I've known
because
a lot
the way
of smart
she
people
looks.
that have no common sense, though.
Yeah. Well, Matthew Perry may be one of them.
That's true.
My whole thing.
And I tell people that to know that I'm right. No one's slamming on him. Everyone's slamming on her. Everyone loves Matthew Perry, and they're not judgmental of her friends.
It's Chandler.
Exactly, it's Chandler. It's Chandler Bing, for God's sake.
Do you see? This is how stupid
Chandler Bing.
we are as public.
I'm just saying,
it's Chandler.
I'm just
saying.
And you know the first
don't
ones.
slam
Let me
on
tell you. No,
Chandler.
you know the first ones that are judgmental of guys like that.
Who?
Married dudes that are in long marriages that go, damn, I wish I could go out with a 19-year-old. Yes, they are. Because when you go, hey, Josh, look at this, man. Look at this 22-year-old that I met the other night. She's smoking hot. We're going out Thursday night. And you're going, Tony, you're 55.
Right.
You know why? Because I'm having a hell of a good time, and you're stuck in a marriage the last 25 years.
Who was just at the beach hanging out with college students?
With 55, 22-year-old USC and UCLA national championship women, including twins with their cheerleader mother. I don't want to hear your shit. You are so full of crap.
I am
Get that lizard brain and let it go because it's true. I don't want to hear about it.
Superior. That is why I'm superior because I allow my frontal cortex to work. This is why I see. This is why I see man after man after man. And you know what? You know what's disheartening for me?
Yeah.
Because I'm in the same group. I have the same lizard brain, but somehow I'm able to control it.
Yeah, well,
I'm able to take 3 steps ahead and go and.
And I'm betting if you were single, you'd think a little different.
Josh, do you think that was her plan the entire time to try to out him?
Yeah,
sure it was.
Probably.
Yeah.
Which
She
I
said
don't
it
like.
was.
I don't. That's what I'm saying. I'm slamming on her for not going after, trying to allure Matthew
There she
Perry.
is, by the way. Oh, yeah,
she's
okay.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, by the way, hey, you want to play Twister on
so
Saturday
we're going to go
night?
this way. We're going to go this way. If we're going to go on the her side, at 19 years old, I do the same thing. Where the hell's your parents? 19. I don't care if you're 19. Where's your parents?
They're probably the ones that funded it.
Right. Where's your parents? And where is you can see it's a very unsophisticated way of addressing a social issue, and that's the part where you're an idiot. You're an idiot for doing that.
She really took it over the edge.
That's exactly.
When she said, I feel like a lot of guys in Hollywood are talking to these young girls, and it's something I think a lot of people should be aware of. Okay, aware of what? The fact that you accepted his invitation to talk to a 51-year-old. Dating apps, they don't hook you up. They don't put you in a room and go, you must talk to this 52-year-old or the 75-year-old. You're the one that engaged it. I think if anything, maybe she liked the idea of going out with Matthew Perry, and now she decided, oh, by the way, we really didn't hit it off.
You see? Yeah.
She probably was disappointed in the fact that he didn't do anything sexual. That's probably what it was.
I did tell Tony before you came in. I said, it's like, what she did is like, buying tickets to a stand-up comedian, going to his show, getting offended, and telling people not to go to the show.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Now,
Which is ridiculous
to me. These are two different wrongs. One, in my opinion, one much more wrong. Hers is much more wrong.
Right.
So I'm trying to be compassionate with Matthew Perry, and in fact, to be honest with you, Tony, to me, I'm much more curious about the thought process, because you always say was just interested or it's interesting. There was no sexual anything behind it. Just wanted to feel. Brandon said maybe feel validated. I'm not saying that that's not true. I'm saying as particularly if you're 51, particularly if it's a 19-year-old. Play it out a little further. You and I both had a situation. You backed me off. I am a married man, right? Where we had a fan who was just said, "Hey," and I was right, and I said hi because I'm a psychologist. Oh, hi, and he's like, all I said was hi. He's like, dude, just stop. And I was like, dude, all I said was hi. And he's like, watch, you just watch.
And she's still out there too.
Yeah, well, and then she said, how's it going? And I said, fine. And he's like, yeah. He's like, look where you're going. I said, fine. It's fine. That's fine. How are you? That's all I said. And I got to the point when and then I stopped talking, right? And she's like, where are you? How come you're not talking to me? And then he's smiling. He's like, see? Well, now, of course, then she turned and went on him, and then I was fine and left over. But I guess my point is...
And I keep her hanging just because I'm flattered.
Yes. I mean, if you're Matthew Perry, if you're a 51-year-old male and you say to yourself, I'm doing this to see if they're interested, to see if I can feel good about myself. Even that, though, to me, there's a little bit of cheapness to that.
See, if I'm going to go lizard brain all the way, I'm going to be really honest. I have no doubt that if Matthew Perry could have slept with her, he probably would have.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I'm being honest with you. I mean,
Sure.
Okay,
she may have gone, what's up with this creep throwing 20 questions? All I want to do is get in Matthew Perry's drawers. And he probably would have taken her up on it as a 19-year-old. Because I'm going to be real. I'm going to be transparent because I speak for every guy. If you're going to go lizard brain, you're going to reach out to a 19-year-old. You probably want to get in her
But that's
pants.
the problem with lizard brain.
That's
That's the problem with lizard brain. Lizard brain gets men in more trouble, and we use lizard brain, but we use lizard brain as if we don't have any control over it. And we've gotten into so many conversations about this that we don't have any control over it. Not that it doesn't exist. It exists. It absolutely exists. You stick naked women dancing around you, and if you're heterosexual male, you're going to be turned on. Absolutely.
Yep.
But your lizard brain, it's not an excuse for your stupidity.
No.
Like, that's why you have the front part. So I agree with you. And that's why I say with someone like Matthew Perry or any 51-year-old male, just ask yourself this question. If you go engage in it online and they say nice things to you, this is like what you told me. What are you going to do next?
Yeah.
Stop?
What she probably should have done, and maybe this is her she's naive because she's 19.
She's 19.
And now she's 20. She could have held him on a little longer. She could have gotten him to get into some sexual stuff and then really hammered him. So, to her defense, at least she got out when she did. There just wasn't enough information there. I'm like, okay, he reached out to you. What's the
it was
big
very
deal?
unsophisticated.
It was very and to his defense, kudos for asking a 19-year-old who looks like that 20 questions and not making it sexual. Because if you're hooking up, because it is an app where people do.
So you think he was just bored?
I have no idea.
Well, but now you're talking
evidently John Mayer's on this app. There is a group of Demi Lovato's on this app.
What's the criteria to get in?
Of
besides influence, I mean,
you have to be an influencer, an A-lister or a B-lister. I'm not sure if they okay you to get in. Obviously, they can take you off, but there's a lot of celebrities on this particular.
You should try. You should apply.
Not yet. I'm good.
Feeling very controlling this morning.
No, I'm just tired of people being so damn judgmental. I really am, because I'm not in Matthew Perry's shoes. I'm not in her shoes. I'm not in your shoes. And people are like, oh, that's horrible. 51-year-old. I'm like, listen. And everyone keeps saying, you got a 9-year-old daughter, you watch.
Yeah.
Well, when she gets to be 19, I'll probably change, because I'll be 65 flipping years old. Maybe I will be different. Maybe I'll be dating a 25-year-old at the time. Maybe I'll have a sugar mama. I don't know. But at the time, I'm like, stop being so judgmental. First of all, he's a celebrity. He could care less. Do you think Kevin Durant?
I couldn't.
Do you think Cuba Gooding Jr., who's been known to grab strange women's breasts in bars, do you think they need to do those things?
No, but
are they creeps?
No,
yeah,
Tony,
they're creeps.
Tony,
okay,
Tony,
but I mean,
stop.
Matthew Perry is asking 20 questions to a 19-year-old hottie. Is not.
doesn't
I think
matter.
it's a very small faction that are really judging them, and they're just the loudest. I think most people don't care.
I mean, to me,
Evidently they do, because 4 million people have now subscribed to her TikTok because they want more. Reach out to Matthew again. Let's get him on. We can't. We're waiting for this HBO Max crap.
This look. I mean, it's not right on both sides. It's not. I'm not saying that they're equally not right.
But it's also not wrong. It's just
exactly.
It's not. No, but see, but somebody,
if she doesn't post
but you
anything
see
on
what he's
TikTok,
doing? This is what he's doing. This is the reason I am calling your ass out. Is
call me out all you want, I'm not
you
wrong.
speak. This is exactly. He speaks for every man, and now
That's right.
every man that listens to him goes, "See,
That's right.
Tony says it's okay."
right. That's
and then
right.
you know
That's
what?
right. That's
and
right.
they end up in my shop.
That's right.
I don't know
And
what my
the
wife.
guys who don't think it's cool are married, and they're like, I'm super married. I'm glad I don't have to get on the dating scene again. Well, you know what? You are married. Congratulations. That's super, and I'm proud of you, and I'm glad you're in a relationship. It's going to last forever. But if it changes, I'll bet you look at things a lot differently.
Would you go out with a 19-year-old? Given you got a daughter right now. You're 54,
honestly
let's go up a little older.
I honestly,
let's go a little more. Sorry, 21. 22. Let's go 22.
Yeah.
For what purpose? Just
first of all, if I'm who I am and what I'm all about, and there's a 22-year-old that's interested in me and she looks like that, it would make me feel really good.
Yes, okay.
It would make me feel good to be seen with her.
Okay.
It would probably build up my stamina and my ego to the point where, hey, listen, I've got it. And I would probably be telling my friends, look at this wonderful woman I'm going to go out and have dinner with on Friday. And she may be incredibly mature for her age. Now, do I think I've got a long-lasting relationship in store? Probably not.
Okay.
But if I'm just out there dating and playing the field, got no problem with it.
But
for the same reason I go out with Dawn Wells.
What? She's dead.
Dawn Wells asked me out to go have a cup of coffee when she was in town before she died. And I was like, she's 68 years old. Nothing sexual about it,
but
I was
have
like,
multiple. Okay. So now it's interesting. This is really interesting. So going to we did the whole Dawn Wells go have a cup of coffee.
for sake of just going out there and getting some practice, why not?
What kind of practice? Like you mean like social
Being around
skills?
another female? Yeah. When you're
Okay.
married for 20 years and all of a sudden you're back on the dating scene, yeah, I would probably go out. And if I'm going to start somewhere, why not start with a 22-year-old that looks like that?
See, okay. Let's talk about being judgy. Let's talk about being judgy. So you just said that it would look great that she's, on my arm, or go out to a nice restaurant, and
And make sure I go a place where everyone knew me too.
Yeah, well, you know what? There also would be, so there'd be this faction of people that would go, oh my God, look at Tony with this gorgeous, right? Yeah, but there'd also be this other faction would be, dude, what a creep. She's barely 20 years old.
Probably don't know those people.
Oh my God.
I'd
I'd be there. I'd be on the one going, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's... You can do whatever you want. Look, you can do whatever you want, and
Sure.
I'm not. It's not that you shouldn't do it and shouldn't do it at all. But what I would always say is I asked the question. Now you answered it, so I appreciate you answer it. What's your end game? And don't tell me I don't have an end game, because that's the biggest bunch of crap I've ever heard. What's your end game? And I'm not saying it's just to sleep with her. I'm saying when you go out with a 20-year-old, is it, and you're 50? Okay, so you're going out first because I got more. If we got enough time, listen.
Are you going to ask a question? Or are you just going to go?
No.
Like that?
So she's gorgeous.
Yeah.
At 20, what do you have to talk about? Yeah, I don't care how mature she is. She's 20.
I don't know. I haven't gone out with a 20-year-old in 30 years. I don't have a clue. It may last.
Because in 30
It may last 5 minutes. It may go, hey, listen, this is not working. Have a good night.
No, but knowing knowing yourself.
Yeah.
Knowing yourself.
I think like a 20-year-old. I'm young at heart. Pretty young at heart.
No.
Maybe she likes bread.
You're
in
young,
England and
right.
John Forcoli.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe she likes to watch Mysteries of the Abandoned.
Oh my God! I bet she loves the sweater. Is it cold in
She
here?
probably does.
Let's
She
reverse
probably wanna
that.
wear it.
What is her motivation? for
Exactly. Thank you very
being
much.
With him,
I don't know.
that's the thing.
No,
But
I'm
they're-
saying the same. No. If we flip this,
I'd have to stop at the
if we flip
ATM.
it,
I'd have to
right.
stop at
if
the
we
ATM
flipped
on
it,
the way
I'd be
here.
doing exactly like,
Yeah.
what the hell are you doing? Whether it was my daughter or not.
And you'd be calling me every 5 minutes going, how's it going, man? How's it going?
I mean, there is this mystique about an older man
I
in
totally
bed
get it.
and knowing what he,
Very
a
distinguished.
20-year-old boy doesn't know what to do in bed.
Yeah, a lot of women will say they don't like going out. Now, they won't go out with 50-year-olds, but they'll go out with 37 to
Yeah,
40,
sure.
45-year-olds because they're
And I know
tired of the...
it's-
First of all, I'm not a gamer. Oh, great.
I
Let's
know
go
it's
have a good time.
arbitrary. I know it's arbitrary. But even like you said, mid-30s to early 20s is different than early to mid 50s and early 20s. It's different.
Sure, it's different.
It's different. So I'm
not disagreeing with
and
that.
I'm not saying it's all okay and it's not, or it's not. And I'm also not saying there's not outliers. I totally get this, but I'm saying if you're going to go down the path, the first step, then I'm going to ask you whether you're not, if you're 19 or 20, I'm going to ask you the same thing. Well, what are you doing?
Okay. Well, the people that may not be asking what your opinion is. They may just want to go out and have a good time with somebody. Now, if it doesn't work out and they go, Dr. Josh, I'm having issues. For some reason, I'm just drawn to 19-year-olds. Can you help me out? Then we'll ask you. Until then, while you're married and you're not single and you're 50 years old and you're in great shape and a 19-year-old hadn't hit on you because you have a ring on your finger, then maybe you shouldn't be talking about it.
I thought you told me the ring on your finger. I thought you told me
because you should not be judgmental.
I thought you told me the ring on your finger was the whole thing.
There is another guy who's giving out some dating advice this past weekend. Did you watch Saturday Night Live? You were obviously down at the beach, so you
No,
probably
but I
didn't
heard
see
Elon Musk talked about that he's on the autism spectrum.
He's got Asperger's. He was not the first person with Asperger's on the show. Dan Aykroyd was, but he was the first one to admit that he had Asperger's, which makes a lot of sense because I think we all are on the autism spectrum, to be honest with you. I think we're all just a little off sometimes.
Can we just say that's the worst name for a...
It is, but if you're going to have
we don't call it that anymore. We don't. It's just on the spectrum, on the autism spectrum. We don't call it Asperger's anymore.
But if you're going to have autism, you want to have Asperger's because it's the lowest level because people really don't know.
Is Asperger's a medical term?
Yeah, it is. It is. What we used to... Do you want to tell? Because you actually know.
Yeah, what's the name of the person that discovered it? But it's on the spectrum, but it's really low level autism.
I mean, all I think of is
I think there's a lot of people with Asperger's.
Ass. That's when I
think
of.
Okay about that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to open a hamburger place called Asperger's.
I know it's not a funny thing, but that's what I think of.
Yeah, this is it. Right. So
Elon Musk was on the show. By the way, the clip, which was seen, I guess, on Sunday morning by over 8 million people, is the most watched clip. This monologue, and his mom came out, which was really cool. I thought he did a fantastic job. I think it showed he was human. People were wanting him to make some type of political stance. Why didn't he apologize about how he downplayed the COVID thing? I'm like, it's Saturday Night Live. Leave it alone, for God's sakes. It was Miley Cyrus and Elon Musk. I thought he did a fantastic job. I think he was very self-deprecating. He was willing to make fun of himself. He did his whole thing to Mars. It was really, really weird. It wasn't a great show, by the way, but it was weird to see him so uncomfortable. And I will tell you this right now, and I've done stand-up. To get in front of a crowd and do a monologue is the most difficult thing anybody in the history of the world will ever do. It scares the crap out of you, particularly when you're up there to make people laugh. He did a great job. You could tell whatever he does it well. He rehearsed and went through the whole 9 yards, and he was there the entire week. Anyway, so he was on the show. So Pete Davidson, who obviously is one of the most well-liked and biggest comedians on Saturday Night Live, and he's a little off. He's been associated with Kate Beckinsale, Ariana Grande. He's dated some wonderful. And you look at him, he's like, if he was working McDonald's, he wouldn't get laid till he was 30, right?
That guy's got a big old dick. Is what he's got.
Okay, all right then.
I mean, look at him. He's got big dick.
No,
energy.
it has nothing to do with that at all. He's funny.
He's funny.
Women love funny guys.
It's like Rockstar. He's
if
funny.
If you're hilarious,
that he's got a big dick.
You're funny, you can get
funny,
anywhere you want. I've
true.
seen it a million times.
It is true.
You can be hung like a
Matthew
hummingbird,
Perry.
but if you're funny,
Matthew
you're
Perry's
getting.
funny.
He is funny. Thank you very much. So he was asked this past weekend, and he was hanging out with Elon Musk and Miley Cyrus. They had some big party afterwards. They were all out till like 6 o'clock in the morning. And he was asking about how he meets women. And he said it's really interesting. And he can do this because he's a star. He's made his own movies. He's an executive producer. He's huge. He's like, I am totally transparent on the first date. He's like, I lay it all out there.
Yeah, okay.
I tell them, and he's got a lot of different issues that he has certainly been very transparent about. But he's like, I lay it all out there. I tell everybody, the minute I meet her, hey, this is how I am. This is the way I am. And this is how I'm a little weird in this area. And I've got some quirks here and I quirks there and da-da-da-da-da. And he said sometimes women dig it because I'm being so transparent. And again, he's Pete, right?
So there's
if this is a guy who's working,
don't use
Express
this as
Oil
a general,
Change.
general dating tip.
No, it's not. But you can, to an extent.
Yes.
And the reason I say that, whether you're Pete or just a regular schmo working down at Express Oil Change, is I think women like when a guy is totally transparent from the get-go.
Yes.
And he's real, particularly when you're a little off.
Yes.
Because I think there's some mystery there.
Yes.
I think there is some uncertainty there. And I think it's like it takes women, and rather than sit there and be a listener and try to find out more about each other and do something that you're not really all about, to be totally transparent and share with your dark side, you're basically putting it out there. And I think a lot of women are intrigued by that. They're like, guy, he was okay looking. It was weird, but he was just kind of strange.
Yes.
I think it'll get you second date.
It will. Yes. You got to be, you said it. You got to be authenticity and transparency are good.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to come across and try to make something you're not. I think the hardest part about it, and it's totally contextually determined about what's going on, is how much and how deep. how much, how deep, given the time period.
Yeah.
Because what can start off as, oh wow, that's really great. He told me that in his childhood he had a little bit of bumpy road, that kind of thing. After you have to be careful, because when you just spew it all out, being totally transparent, you either A, blow people out of the water and they're like, oh, okay, they're too much, or B, what you end up doing, and this is where I think you have to be careful, even if you're a celebrity. If you're making it all about you and the real you, then the vibe that you're basically giving is that it's all about me.
Yeah.
And so titrate it out. Be honest, be transparent, but just don't dump it all there. Particularly your demons. We've done a whole show on this. I'm telling you, it's easier to say. See, this is the thing. It's easier to make it all or none. It's easier to go, okay, I'm going on this date. And if I feel like it's going, I'm just going to let her know about everything. I'm going to just let her know all my demons.
Yep.
You need to exercise some more control.
Sure.
Because after a while, it's just like nobody wants to go out with you because you're a freak.
He basically said that it kind of gets all the anxiety, the jitters, the weirdness out of the way. And
what does he say to them? Did he say what he says?
No, he did say, if I'm into you, I'll pretty much know right off the bat. If I'm into you, I'm going to share a lot of things with you about me. And again, it may be like, whoa, holy crap. But again, it's Pete, right? So,
right.
I mean, if you're a woman and you're going out with it, you're probably willing to give him a second or third shot.
Just right, whether he gave it to you or not.
Yeah, there was a friend of mine, a woman friend of mine, who got a chance to go out with Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Mm-hmm.
This is years ago. Okay, years ago. This is when he was single, and she met him on his bus after a race at Talladega Superspeedway, and she told me she was going to go out with him. I was like, "That's pretty cool," and she was super cool, and without having to go into exactly what happened on the bus or what was exactly, it totally turned her off. She's like, it was Dale Earnhardt Jr. I was willing to give him a lot of room, a lot of room. I was willing to put up with a lot of stuff. He could have broke up a pack of cigarettes. He could have been doing a line. He could have been doing. So I was willing. She goes, but it got so weird so quick. He was so transparent with her. This is the way it's going to be, and this is who I am. Okay, that about a half an hour, she's like, I don't think this is going to work.
Did he really say what you just said? This is who I am.
Pretty much, yeah.
See, and that's a difference. You got to be, if you're going to be transparent, you got to do it with a little bit of panache.
And I gave her a lot of credit, too, because I respected her for bailing.
Of course.
And she was like, I was nice. I just was like, I don't think this is really. Well, that's the thing,
because just because you're a celebrity or an influencer or whatever, if you're still kind of.
She goes, I don't know too many women that left that bus that night, but I did. She goes, well,
good for her, because.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yes.
Mostly for you, but I'm going to use him as an example, okay? So
it's mostly for me, though. Hey, it's mostly for me.
Good.
Say you're in a relationship under a year, under a year. Okay, say you're in a relationship under a year, about 9 months. Right?
Okay.
Tony's in this relationship with this girl. Okay, they're dating, going well. Say 15, 20 years ago, he took 4 years of his life and he pursued being a priest. Okay, in the Catholic Church.
Okay,
and you haven't told her that yet. Not that you were keeping it from her. It just hasn't.
Yeah, right.
Right. And it comes up in a conversation with another person. They mention it.
And Tony, when you were going to be a priest, that kind of thing.
And she gets mad that you did not tell her.
Now he's telling the girl I'm dating that.
Yeah, say that. Yeah, say that. Yes, y'all want to.
So you know the girl I'm going out with. He knows the girl I'm going out with. And,
and I say it to, and I'm like, hey, did he tell you about when he was a priest?
Right. And she's like, no.
Okay.
Why would she get angry?
Well,
that's the thing.
Question?
Is why would you get angry about that?
There's no. I mean, now if I said
that's very. If I said,
true. Tony, did you tell him about how that you went on that whole sort of binge and you slept with 150 women and
sure.
right. Then maybe she should get. But no, I mean that getting angry. No, curious. Mm-hmm. One, maybe a little bit more than curious. That's funny, Tony. Why didn't you tell me that you were going to be a Catholic priest?
Because I didn't become a Catholic priest, and
right.
It doesn't mean anything.
I
mean, I realized it wasn't for me, and that's why I'm here with a woman.
Yes, right.
That's why I'm here dating you.
Listen, when you're dating.
By the way, that's almost true. I didn't spend 4 years doing it. I almost became a priest when I was 18.
So I was.
You were a Catholic priest too?
No. I wasn't. I was. No, it happened. It happened to me a week ago. So I had a friend come down up from Mobile, and I took 4 years of my life, and I was in ministry school.
You too?
Years. Yeah.
What's with you
And,
guys?
Hey, fist bump, man. Holy fist bump.
And the thing is, she thought I was a monk or something. Like,
Okay.
No, this was like contemporary.
Right.
No, it wasn't like we were in a monastery and like we were traveling the world and doing like high school things and teenage, like.
Sure.
And she wasn't angry, but she was like, I don't know why you didn't tell me that.
So now I do think, listen.
Why didn't you tell her? Just
Yeah.
It just didn't.
Right.
it wasn't important.
It was. I mean, it's not that it's not important. I didn't. It's just a part of my life that was a different part of my life, and it just hasn't come up.
Would
yet.
it change if, like, you were in politics for 4 years? What if you were trying to become the mayor of a city and you didn't share it with her?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think
Like, it didn't happen. This is who I am,
No, but
and
listen,
so I
listen,
thought
listen.
not
So
to bring
I
it
think-
up.
Are you mad that I became a better person and learned
No,
character
I don't-
and learned how to
I mean,
treat a woman? And,
But if you're not nice to me, I can go back.
No, but getting, yeah.
That priest thing's still out there. They're looking for him. You know?
I think getting mad is a little.
she wasn't
much.
mad.
She was just a little
Like,
confused and
like,
somewhat
why
like.
were you keeping this from me?
I actually think there's nothing wrong with that, because particularly if someone's got strong feelings for you, they're like, in their mind, that was a pretty.
Okay, well, let's
significant
back this up.
Okay,
Would it change anything if you found out that she was
a priest.
going to be a nun?
Yeah, I would have
don't
done.
If
think
she had spent
so.
4 years,
No, I would have.
You know what?
I wouldn't be angry, but I'd be like,
it would
I-
it would turn me on.
if. Jesus,
Oh, yeah,
because-
you're going to be a what? You were going to
you
4 years.
listen to
You were
Jewish-
in the
do you still have your habit?
You were going to
Can
the
you wear that?
seminary, and yeah.
You see, this is the whole Julie Andrews thing, which is weird.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I don't
Even
really.
Johnny Van
too
Sant
many
thought
ga-
that was weird. Did you know that?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, he's got
That's-
COVID. Who
Yeah,
cares?
but that's
He ain't
weird.
taking care of
No,
himself.
I think when you have something that is in your history that is fairly unique, the ministry,
I didn't know you play piano so well.
that's different.
No, but I mean, that's something that you could do that people wouldn't know about. Next thing you know,
Yeah.
you're sitting down at a piano in a bar, and
but
you're like,
that's
I never
different.
knew.
That's more like a talent.
I mean, that's going to make her panties wet if you just
yeah,
sit
that's
down
like a
and-
talent. That's like a talent.
And she didn't know that.
I think more of a.
That's something you hold on to, yeah.
No, I think like I you know what it'd be
The
Here's one.
priest thing, not so much. Hey, by the way, you want to get hot? I was going to become a priest. I spent 4 years in the seminary. Really? Some women may get turned on by that.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't. I think if it was a priest, I would want to know. It would. To me, that's outside.
How do you broach that, though?
I mean, she would know eventually. It just not. It was one of those things.
You know what
that just
this
not
is?
come up.
If you take her to church, when you take a
And
woman
you've
to
got
church, you
everything
get
memorized?
serious, and you're reciting the entire mass,
Yeah.
and you're going like this and stuff like that,
Yeah.
then she may
What's
go,
the thing
"Man,
called?
you know that really well.
I'm the Jew guy. What's the thing I love when they swing in the Catholic Church? The incense thing.
Yeah,
What's it called?
they only do that on special occasions. I'm not
That's
sure what
one
it's
of my
called.
favorite. That's my
Yeah.
favorite part.
We
of
still
going
ring
to
the
church.
bells, though.
No, I think it's one of those. I think it's one of those things, and I do think it's a gender. I think it goes down gender lines. To be honest with you, I think it is. Guys tend not to think as much about sharing stuff about their life. Now, what are you gonna do? You're gonna put some more sugar in more coffee in your sugar. Have you ever seen the way this guy makes coffee?
You need to get real creamer and
Look, oh my God!
some
Do you
honey.
see what he just did?
No.
So he put 5 packets of sugar in 1 cup of coffee, and then I don't even know what that was. I'm assuming that was powdered creamer.
Yeah, powdered
Where's your
creamer
real
is
creamer?
so gross to me.
Did you run out of it?
You have a,
Less calories to it,
Yeah,
so
but-
I'm trying to watch my body in case I hook up with a 19-year-old.
but it's so processed that it's not even
Right. Yeah. So you're not gonna get fat. You'll just get some sort of weird cancer.
That's like when
thing.
people
Processed
like,
guy.
oh, I eat a Beyond Burger. I'm like, that Beyond Burger is worse for you than a real burger because it's so processed.
Okay, so I get this tweet from KSA this past weekend. I cannot
What's
find
KSA?
a. It's just the name of his
19-year-old.
tweet. KSA. No, it's a dude actually.
That's yours.
Replying to Tone the Bone 37, I cannot find a logical explanation for such a scandalous nudity other than that it is only planned to offend conservatives and religious people. I don't understand that you would go to the beach to be naked. What is left of her private life, husband and or lover? That's based off a tweet, a poll that I put out that you voted on. If you knew,
Yeah.
if
okay.
you knew down at, we'll just say Pensacola or Destin or Gulf Shores, that you could go topless,
I go
would you do
topless
it?
all the time.
and my question was, would you unleash those little rascals or no, I would
I'm
absolutely
topless
not
right
do
now.
that. 75% of the people polled said absolutely.
Yeah, but
If I had a chance to go topless, I would do it because it would be considered sociably acceptable down that beach. This is our Lynn Park thing. Ocean City, Maryland,
Yeah.
who is going through another, and it's going back to the courts again. There is a group of 5 women, including a couple of celebrity women, who were saying back in 2017 they rewrote the law that said that men could be topless, but women could not. And they're like, we don't understand why we have to continually live in the 1600s in this country when in Europe it's no big deal and everyone's gotten used to it because it's the social norm over there. What's the big deal? And so I asked the question, if you had a chance. Now, I've been to Aruba, where there's topless beaches all over the place, and my wife was with me on a second honeymoon, and I said, "You're going to go topless?" And she didn't feel comfortable doing it. I said, "Okay, fine." And I asked if I could go pantless, and the dude was like,
No.
"She can, but you can't." And I was like, "Okay," because I thought if everyone's doing it and it's social, it's like going to a nudist colony. If everyone's doing it, then it gives you the opportunity to do something I've never done before, and it's more socially acceptable and it's legal. So I've been to Barcelona, where let's go to the nude beaches, and we got there, and trust me, you don't want to go to a nude beach.
No, most people on nude beaches don't need to be nude.
No, there was a gal coming up about 50 yards out, and I was sitting there staring at it, and it turned out to be a dude.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. Just remember that if you can go topless, everyone feels comfortable going topless.
That's
okay,
right.
If you go on cruise ships,
They topless on cruise ships?
every cruise ship out there's a topless area. Did you know that?
No, I haven't been
Even
on,
on Disney ships,
So there's like a
it's on the top.
interesting.
I didn't realize it to the last day on my Carnival cruise, and it said topless area, no cameras. I was like, I didn't even know. Now, are there some creeps that go up there and just look around and go, I'm good? Sure. You know, if they're there with their wife, it's obviously different. My question, though, is I think it's interesting, and I think we're a little behind in this way. But I'm also a guy that likes to dig my heels a little bit on morals. Okay, I'm like, there's no reason, because normally when you do see those things, finally, you're usually disappointed. I find women really attractive when I don't see them, and then sometimes when I finally see them, it takes away. Not to say they look bad. It's just like okay, that's over. What's next?
I mean, but we can all
By the
agree
way,
that
his poll, he doesn't know the gender split on his poll. He just threw
I
it
have no
out there.
idea.
Well, and also the rest of the world, most of the rest of the world is more sexually promiscuous than the United
Not
States.
promiscuous, accepting.
Except,
I've been to.
and
Let me
not
tell you,
just sexual. So it's both, right? It's
the birth rate and all that stuff. The sex
I mean, what
rate's
they
no
can
higher
show
than it is
on network television
right. We're more
in Spain,
but we're
or-
more bunged up. We're
much more
Quaker-like.
bunched up.
We're quite more.
Dude,
much more,
Janet Jackson.
Yeah.
Women kicked off airplanes because they can't breastfeed, for God's sakes. What the hell are we doing? We have special areas, not NFL games, for women who want to breastfeed. They have to get up in their seat.
By the way, have you seen an airport? You seen what they have in airports?
Yeah.
That is the most.
I mean,
Like whoever thought, have you seen this? They have lactate pods,
Mm-hmm.
lactation pods, which on the surface, right, you think is a great idea. They have a place where women can go to breastfeed, which is great. But I was in the Atlanta airport. It's not like you go and then there's like a room and you just open the door. It's a pod that sits. You crawl.
Everybody knows that you're.
Well, you crawl into the pod and people are walking around you. Now, there's no windows on it.
Sure.
But like yes.
it's almost like smokers. You want to smoke,
Oh,
you
I
got to go
love
over
that.
here.
Dude,
See,
I love that.
Here's the thing: is if they're going to give you the pod, some women don't want to expose their breast. I understand that, but when a baby's crying, he's hungry, he's got to feed, he's got to eat, right? But if you want to use that private area, you can. But if you want to do it on the plane, because a kid doesn't tell you, hey, by the way, I'm going to be hungry at 6:15. Are we near a pod? No, your ass is 35,000 feet in the air. You're going to be feeding in 5C, right? So you do that. So if they're going to allow you to do it both places, I'm totally cool with it. They're not saying you have to. But they're allowing you to do it in the hopes that people don't get on airplanes. If you are on a flight and you're a woman, I don't understand why you'd be so upset to see another woman breastfeed, because you're a woman. You probably get it. If you're a man, you're just a plain creep.
Right.
You're a plain creep. If you're
mostly
turned on
women
by a
that
woman
get offended,
breastfeeding, what
right?
the hell's wrong with you?
It's mostly
Well, 'cause
women
men are-
that get offended
men
by
are
other
either
women.
okay or creeps.
I can't let my
Sure.
child see that. Really?
Yeah.
Have you not taken a shower with your child since she was like this big?
Yes.
She sees your breast. She sees your cooch. She sees it all in its glory. Explain to her what it
It's
is.
the hypocrisy.
It is.
Because they're also out watching porn.
And again, there's going to be outliers. There's going to be outliers. There's going to be people that are freaking. I'm going to the nude beach to look at. I'm going to have my glasses on the entire time, and my eyes are going to hurt because I'm going to be going like this. It's fine. There's outliers and everything, but for the most part, when it's, and again, we went to the Olympics, Barcelona in 1992. No air conditioning. The only people that were living in air conditioning there were tourists, because tourists get too hot. It gets above 75 degrees. I need my air conditioning.
Me too.
Barcelonians don't have. They don't
They
care.
just sweat.
They don't wear bras.
Yeah.
They sweat. They're used to it. They don't actually don't sweat because they're so used. Their bodies are so used to it. And then you go into clubs, dude. Clubs. And I mean, I went into like 4 or 5 different clubs. There are video screens the size of a jumbo 747 jet where it's just hardcore.
Oh, porn?
And not one person's looking at it because
Except
it's
the
no big
Americans.
deal.
yeah.
It's
Look at that.
it's almost, well, yeah. It's, I mean,
It's out
I'm
in the
sitting there
open.
going like this. And I was like, wow. And they knew we were tourists. Like, you're a
That's
tourist,
why they
aren't you?
do it.
Because, but I mean, it's like music. It's like
Yeah.
music. It's like you got drinks, you got music, you got porn. It's like, what's the big deal? It just adds
That's
to
our
the
society.
atmospheric.
We are the most. We have some of the most hypocritical. American culture is some of the most hypocritical society when it comes to morality and norms.
Yeah.
But
we're freaks.
what?
We're freaks, though.
Well, because
Well, behind closed doors, we're freaky.
why do you think? Because if you cram all that crap down and you have people going, you can't, you're going to go to hell. It's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. Lizard brain.
Breasty Europeans are like deer to hunters. We always talk about you never get tired of looking
Wait,
at a
what?
deer. Whenever I saw a deer last night, I was like, oh, that's a deer.
Yeah.
And my son's like, dude, we see 25 a day. I'm
yeah.
like, I know, it's still exciting. They're just
yeah.
like boobs. Love
Yes.
looking at boobs. So,
You know, by the
grandma, yeah. So hunters
told
are like, okay, it's a deer. Hunters are like Europeans. They've already seen it.
Oh,
They're
I see
like,
what
what's the
you're
big deal? I'll shoot it. I'll eat it later.
That is a great analogy.
Because deer and boobs are so much alike. No matter how many times you see them, at least here, you
Yes.
can't wait. Now, Europeans,
They're like, yeah, it's a boob. Well, because it's walking around. I mean, and we have, you know what's interesting to me too? We've not really progressed. I mean, we progressed.
No, we
But
haven't
also
progressed at all.
There's some validity to the mystery of,
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
but-
when you're naked all the time, there's no
Yeah,
mystery.
but Europeans are not just walking around naked. By the way, I love, damn, I was going to pivot.
what's wrong?
I haven't had a lot of sleep, man.
He's
It's
a-
been a long drive. No, I was gonna say, you said naked. You said naked?
Naked.
Right.
Naked.
So being down, just quick, down at Gulf Shores, this whole thing, 3/4 of the people there were from California. And they were just getting off on Southern accents and Southern words. And I heard someone say down there naked, and someone was like, his neck? What's wrong with his neck?
Dude.
So naked.
Have you guys watched Fargo, the TV show?
Yes.
Yeah, it's bad.
The worst accent. I
Yeah.
could not, like the Minnesota, South Dakota
Yeah.
accents are the most.
The beach though is this, and this accent thing's going nowhere for me. The beach thing is the same exact thing though, because when
Yeah.
you go to the beach, it's just naked people.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're a guy,
yeah.
and you see a woman across a bar and she's got a short skirt on, you're going to try to get the best seat so you get the best look, right?
Yep.
If you're
Beach.
down at the beach, it's everywhere.
Well, and particularly,
it's just half naked people walking around.
Yes,
and,
it
but you
should
know
be.
what? And it's culturally and sociably accepted.
Which is fascinating.
Unless you got the girl that's got the T back or the G string, you're like, whoa.
well, that's-
or the woman.
You know why I didn't bring him?
Did he just say teabag?
No, but
what did he say?
This is
Teabag.
This is
Teabag.
Yeah.
No, but what I'm saying is because it's
these are
socially
volleyball players.
acceptable at
This
the
is what
beach.
was all down
We're
the beach.
used to seeing
You see
people.
why I didn't want him to come down?
Now,
with
when
me?
a woman walks on the beach and she's fully clothed in her moo and you look, you know she's going to be looking hot. There's going to be the
He
old,
also
you can't
said-
wait to see the thing come. But
You also
it's
said-
socially.
You just said.
and-
Can we stop? Can we stop for a second? You
Well,
just
we-
said no, but stop. You said moo moo.
I know.
You can't say moo moo anymore.
Sure, my mom wore a moo.
Right. That's exactly.
The problem is this: just because we allow it doesn't mean people are going to do it. If you said, okay, down in
Interesting.
Pensacola,
Now,
you
that's
can allow breast. Now, I'm asking 75% of women, and I'm assuming, and some of them are men, but I'm assuming most of the women feel like they'd look pretty good topless, okay? And there may be some women saying, I'll ask my husband first, and I'd be totally cool with that. Hey, do you mind if I go topless? Most men probably wouldn't mind. They'd be okay with it. And it depends on what part of the world you're in. If you're in Aruba, there's not a bad pair anywhere. It's all Instagram models laying on the beach, and maybe they don't want tan lines. Maybe they want to make
Right.
whatever they want to look like. But for the most part, just because we allow it doesn't mean women are all of a sudden. If you said we allowed to have
You know, he's a
nudity
priest, by the
down
way.
at Pensacola, I would bet you'd have out of 100 women, 3.
to start.
And they would probably lay on their
To
stomachs
start.
to
and
start.
Then, no, but then
Sure,
and then
to
it
start.
catches on.
Yeah.
Right. It would catch on, and then it would become.
Mhm.
I'd say it'd become 50%.
I don't
Well,
think
no,
so.
then we would
No,
come
it
in,
would
then there
not.
would be protests, and we'd come in, and they'd have to section it off and whatever.
No, it wouldn't be 50%.